Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. What are we doing today? Today we're in Roblox Studio. So some people have been having issues with the truck and the trailer. So today what I'm going to try to do is we are going to go into the toolbox and we are going to get a semi-truck. Hopefully it works. We'll find one that works, that drives at least. It just needs to drive. And then I'm going to make a trailer for it. Let's see if this one drives. Oh, it's a restricted asset. Is this a restricted asset? I don't know. They've done some changes. I should read up on some of the changes here for that sort of stuff. But all right, let's see if this is gonna work. If it doesn't work, I'll just use one of the trucks I already have. Okay, this one doesn't work. It's crap. Let's get rid of it. Scripts. All right. How many? 23 scripts. I'm just using this. It just has to drive, right? That's all. Doesn't matter what it looks like. You probably already have a working vehicle. It just has to drive. There we go. Ooh, this is an old one. Ooh, nice. Okay, so this one works. Smoke, a chassis interface, smoke. A chassis interface dot smoke. Oh, that's this. Look at this. Wow, that's all this kind of stuff. And whatever. That's cool. Anyways. It's a way of doing it. They could have just created one. Anyways, doesn't matter. All right, so let's get into it. So we have our truck, and now we need a trailer. So the first thing I do is I want to align the trailer to where I want it to sit on the back of the truck. So I would say, like in theory, maybe something like that. Okay. So if we scale this up just a little bit, because we are gonna be putting a hitch on there. The next thing we want to do is we want to make the trailer, you know, about as wide as the vehicle. All right, maybe a little bit wider. All right, and then we just need a length, really. That's probably good. It's probably a bit too long. We'll say 50. Okay, and then from there, basically, here, we'll move this up just a little bit. From there, basically, what we need is we need some tires. So if we take these two, and if I say duplicate, and just bring them back here, and then what we'll do is we'll group them as a model, and we will bring them here, and we'll put those models, yeah, whatever, inside the part. We'll group this as a model. This is our trailer. Now, I'm not going to go over the lights and all that kind of stuff because that's going to require me to make a chassis work. Okay, so now people were asking me, like, what do I make massless? What don't I make massless? How does this work? So remember, what I was saying that with a chassis and the wheels and friction, you're only ever going to be able to pull so much. Even if you crank the horsepower on the vehicle, what is going to happen is that the wheels will just spin and you're not actually going to do anything. Unfortunately, that's just Roblox. That's just part of it, right? So what we end up needing to do is we end up needing to make most of these parts without any mass. And that way we're able to just drive. So the next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this. And now we just need to make... Oh yeah, because it's inside. Alright, now we can duplicate it. And then we'll scale it. This is just going to be where we attach the wheels. So it just has to be like that. And like that, and like that. Yeah, whatever. Right, and then in here, I don't know, this is the part itself. Oh, and then this is the squeal. Yeah, well, I'll probably have to get rid of that. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is going to go insert object. We need an attachment. All right. And then when we do it that way, it's centered. If we just insert the attachment like that, it's centered. So we don't actually have to move it. Then what we need to do is we need to insert attachment. Okay, and this can be like A. And then obviously here we'll duplicate that to 3 and 4. B, C, and D. All right. And now this tire here, so all we basically need to do is we need to say model, create a cylinder. And what we can do is we can actually go from here. We'll go from here, from A to there. There we go. And now if we take this attachment, we need to rotate it. Oh, I see. It's going like that. So it's actually this one here needs to be rotated. So we can do that. And then we'll take this position. And then we take this position and we make it the same. There. Now we have a wheel. It's just like that. And we actually don't have to do anything to the cylinder constraint. Actually, yeah, we want angular limits enabled? No. But we want limits enabled. You see how it's set to, the upper limit is set to 5? So it will actually move 5 studs this way. So we actually want to set that to 0. Once we set that to 0, there should be no movement by the wheel at all. So if we drive around, it'll be okay. All right, so now we have to do that to all of these. Insert object attachment. There is going to be a little bit of coding as well. Okay, and then B. All right, and then now B needs to be rotated. Oh no, it doesn't actually. Cool. So we'll take this position, make that the position of that one. There we go. Same thing. We'll take the cylindrical constraint, limits enabled. We're going to set that to 0, and then that way it doesn't move. It won't track in and out, right? Which is what we want. Okay. And then let's do this tire here. Insert object attachment. All right, and then at C, we want to create a cylindrical constraint. So I think C needs to be rotated like that. And then we'll take this position, make it this position, and then obviously we need to edit the cylinder. This one here. All right, and then we take this one here, create, not yet actually. Insert object attachment. All right. Let's see, we'll just rotate it. I don't know if I have to actually, because it has an arrow already pointing that way. All right, so we'll click on that one. We'll create another cylinder. Now this one needs to be rotated. Just like that, and then this one needs to be rotated. So you see how it has that gold kind of knob on it? And you see how this one has a gold knob on it? You see all these? That we have to make sure that they're facing the same direction, otherwise it's not going to work. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind if you're having troubles. Make sure that everything is in alignment. Make sure that the position is correct. Oh, whoops. Right, because if it's not close, what will happen is when you start the game, it will shrink. It will align itself. So for example, if the cylinder is here and the wheel is over here, the wheel will actually snap into position. And if that happens, it can cause the trailer to flip away and fly away. It can do all sorts of things. So you just have to make sure that anytime you're using your constraints, that they're aligned and that you double check their positions. So limits enabled, and we'll set that to 0 as well. Okay, so now we need to take this and we need to weld it to here. Now this should be massless. It is, and that's massless. So the only thing here that has mass is the trailer. Now the other thing that we want to do is We want to just make some legs just for the purpose of this tutorial. Right? They'll be big and ugly and awful. Big and ugly and awful. Hey. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. And then we need to weld that to there, and then duplicate that. Right, then we have our upper section and our lower section. We'll just group that as a model. I think that's the upper section, and this is going to be the lower section. All right, and why does that matter? Well, what's going to happen is when we attach the trailer, it's going to make the legs go up automatically. I guess people like that. Me, I'm a little more old-fashioned. I like to get out and press buttons and all that sort of stuff. But it seems like when you make a game with lots of buttons and lots of things, let's see, what's a better way of explaining that? I was taking my daughter to school. She's in grade 2. And I overhear a conversation by the 10-year-olds, and I think they were grade 3 or grade 4. They're having this conversation about Roblox, and that made sense. That for me was like everything. So now I understand the average age of the person that plays Roblox generally is quite young. So if you make a game that has lots of buttons that requires the player to explore, understand that it may not do so well because maybe the retention isn't there, or it's just not what the kids are interested in. Whatever. What can you do? I don't know. It is what it is, right? Okay, so let's see here. We'll take this, and we'll take this, and we'll make that black just so we can see that, oops, there's a difference here. Okay, so now the other thing that we also need is we need the actual hitch. We need the actual hitch itself. All right, so if I just press play here, let's do that. We'll just see what we have. The trailer should sit there, and the truck should sit there. Nothing should fly away. Perfect. There we go. We have the truck, and we have our trailer. Everything's fine. We can get on the trailer. We can move it around, and I bet you even if I push it, well, I'll have to check that. These might be anchored. These wheels here might actually be anchored. I'm not sure. Let's check, shall we? Yeah, they're anchored. Because a chassis will unanchor the object once it spawns into the world. That's why, if you're wondering why a chassis works... Oh, what's going on? Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. The trailer is moving, but the tires are not. What? Huh? How does that even make sense? Yeah, the trailer is moving. Why is that? Now, is that because... That is weird. That is weird. I wonder if we have to put it inside the actual tire. That doesn't make any sense. All right, well, it doesn't make any sense, but let's just see if we can fix it. Here, we'll try with the one wheel. That would make sense. Oh yeah, there we go. See, it doesn't move as much. But it's also... Notice how the wheels are up off the ground? The wheels are off the ground. The trailer's off the ground, so it dropped, but the wheels didn't drop. Okay, so something's up with this. Something's up with this. Oh, because they're still anchored. I thought I unanchored it. There, it's unanchored now. So the wheels are unanchored. All right, now let's see if that's gonna work. And I shouldn't have to move. I do have to move that. Oh, I see. How interesting. But the one tire moves. You see that? Okay. So now what we need to do is, so that was in this tire here. So we need to take this tire and we need to weld it here. And then we need to take the rim and we need to weld it there. And then if I press play, right, we have to weld it all together. Yeah, and then if I press play, it should be there. Yeah, there's the tire that we want. Okay. So it's a little more involved. So that one is done. This one here should be moved into... It doesn't matter which tire we choose. I'll just put it in there. And then we need to rotate it. Alright, so just bear with me for a moment. I knew this one was kind of be a longer video. So then what we have to do is we have to weld these to there and then to there. This one doesn't need a weld in it. Okay. And then we'll take this tire here. There we go. And then we just got to weld the rim to that tire and weld this, that tire. Now it's one solid unit, right? It's one solid unit. We don't need to worry about the smoke and this, and I don't think we have to weld it to the block. I don't think we have to weld it to here. I don't know why. It's strange, but anyways, that's the way it is. That is the way it is. So we'll take that position. Come on. There we go. Really? There we go. Okay, and that was this tire here. All right, now we should have a trailer. And we should have some tires. Yes, there we go. As you can see, it's sunken into the ground. I wonder if that has to do with the collidability. Yeah, these are set to can collide. And then this one here is set to can collide. So we don't need the rim, but we do need the tires to collide. Do that. Unless this is smaller. I'm not sure. These are strange wheels that I'm working with here. So we'll make the tires collide. Alright, and then now see how that looks. Hopefully there's, yeah, there we go. Now the trailer is doing something very strange. Kind of moving around. It's kind of being all wild. Now that is because there's no. Ooh, look at this. There's a hidden block somewhere. I'll have to figure that out. How strange. So the rest of the trailer doesn't weigh anything, but the wheels do have weight to them. So the trailer is going to want to sit where the wheels are, right? So if we wanted to stop that from flipping all around, all we would have to do is take this from having no mass to having mass and pressing play. And it's still kind of doing this kind of weird sort of thing that it does. What is going on? What is even going on? Roblox. Is it the tires? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Let's see. I know it doesn't want to load this sound. So let's just get rid of the sound and let's get rid of that. Let's just see if that helps. I've noticed that sometimes if you're having issues, if your code is broken, that also causes issues. But Roblox has been acting kind of weird lately, huh? Oh boy. How strange. How strange. Let's see. If we take this and we give that mass. Now the thing is, if we start making this thing weigh a lot, we'll end up having to spawn it in with the... Gave me an error there. Oh, that's just on the truck. It's funny, hey? See how it just flips over? I don't know why. If we do that, it just sits on the tires. Wow, what is even going on? I've never had this issue before. And this all has, yeah, see this has weight to it. And then the tires have weight to them. With the custom physical properties. Could have to do with their density. Yeah, this has density of 2, elasticity, weight, friction, and friction weight. And none of that is in here. So odd. All right, well then let's just change that like that, the density to 1. What's the elasticity weight on there? 1 and then 1.1 and then 1.1. All right, and then 1.1, 1.1, and then 1. Is that right? 1, 1.1, 1. So that's kind of what we should be doing. I wonder if we have to do it for all of them. I'm just gonna try 1 here. Let's change that to 1, 1, 1.1, and 1. 1, 1.1, and 1, and I'll restart the music here as well. 1, 1, 1.1, and 1. See how that goes. Yeah, you see how the tires are moving? So that might have something to do with the constraints. Hold on a second here. Hold on. That's odd. I've never used these types of wheels before. It shouldn't even be the wheels though. We shouldn't even really be having this issue. That's massless. Well, what if I made this? What if we did that? Oh yeah, see, it wants to spin less. But something is up with these tires. See how they're just... No idea what's going on there. No idea what is going on. idea. That's weird. This is what I did with the other one. So let's take a look at, is it colliding with anything? This is can collide false, right? Where is it here? Can collide false. Let's see, maybe that's it. Yeah, that's it right there. It was binding. Now it's not binding as much. It's still acting all weird. Are the tires too close together? Alright, well, let's try and make the wheels have no mass either. Let's see if that helps. Let's try that. Helped a little bit. I don't know why it's moving around like it does. Oh, it has to. Okay, it has to do with. This is collidable, and that's collidable as well. Maybe that's why I made the tires too close together. So if we make this one can collide ball, and we make the rim, yeah, exactly. So that one there should be can collide balls. So, anyways, you see what I'm doing here is this is troubleshooting. Basically, we're just troubleshooting. Trying to figure out why it's binding. Oh, did that fix it? That fixed it. There we go. Look at that. Now it's not binding anymore. Ha, that's perfect. Look at that. I fixed it. Hey, now it's ready to go. Okay, perfect. So there you go. So if your trailer's all moving around like that, saw what I had to do. Because sometimes when parts are really close together and they have fluid forces, so I guess what happened was is these are kind of bouncing off each other. Now you're probably thinking, well, why doesn't it do that with A chassis? I have no idea. A chassis is a simulation, right? So it's all written in the code. So I don't know. That's my guess. That's my guess. Okay, so the entire trailer has no mass except for the inner tires. Yeah, see, the inner tire has mass, but the outer tire also has mass. Okay, so the whole trailer doesn't have any weight except for the tires. That's it. Just the tires. So the next thing we want to do, now that we've done that, the next thing we want to do is we want to get the hitch. And now we're going to do a little bit of coding here for this. So we want to take this here. This is going to be representing our hitch. Okay. And then we'll come down like that. Obviously, we'll say can collide false. And we'll do that there. And then what we're going to do is we are going to duplicate this, right? Because essentially the center of that is going to connect with the center of this. Once these collide with each other, it's going to create a constraint. So, all right, here we're going to insert object, attachment. Here we're going to insert object and attachment. And we can just call this trailer. Okay, and then now what we want to do is I want to scale. Is that going to change the? I can't even see this numbers. The numbers are in the way. Get out of the way, numbers. Oh, really? All right. Whatever is going on today, I don't even know. Okay, so can collide fall. Typical. We want to get rid of that weld. Okay, and then we want to put that weld here. All right. So now what we want to do is inside the hitch, we are going to insert an object, and it's going to be a script. I guess I need a button as well. Let's get a button here. Let's just weld that to here. Scale it there like that. Okay, and then whatever. That's going to be our button, because we need a button to connect and disconnect the trailer, right? So now inside here, inside our script, we're going to tell the wait just a split second. And then what we want to do is we want to say script dot parent dot touched, right? Connect function, and then what do we want it to do? We want to say instance dot new, and we want to say rod constraint. This is dot new. What is that? It needs to be like this. Yeah. It have to be like that, maybe? No. What's going on? Yeah, string, blah, 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 returns an instance of a specific class. Okay, here's where I gotta open from file. This will work. I have to see what I did there. I'm really sorry, I got a runny nose again. I don't know, like I got sick a month ago, and then I recovered, and then right at the end of the recovery I got a cold for some reason. Like for 2 days I was just sneezing. Just sneezing for 2 days. Ridiculous. And it's still obviously there a week later. Runny nose. Okay, so what do we do for the hitch here? Oh, that's huh. Oh, it's in there, that's why. That's the old one. Oh, I have to put it in quotes. I have to put it in quotes. That's why. Okay, then I would give it a name. Okay. So you see what we did there? So we said local connect equals instance.new, and then we need to say rod constraint. There we go. And then we want to say is script.parent. Right? So that's where we're going to make the constraint. And then so we'll close this. Actually, yeah, I'll close this one down. I don't think I need this anymore. We can just troubleshoot from there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm actually going to insert a rod constraint. And then that way I can look at the properties of it and see what it needs. So we need to say connect dot attachment 0 equals, we can say script, script dot parent dot attachment, and we can say connect connect dot attachment 1 equals, and now we have to say, here we have to say hit. In here we need that variable. So we need to say hit dot attachment. Oh, I think it says trailer. Actually, is that right? Let's see here. Yeah, hit dot trailer. All right, and then we need to say connect dot length equals, and then I think it's 0.2 is the smallest length that we can have on here. Let's see. Yeah, 0.2 is our shortest length. And then we can make it visible. We don't have to make it visible. We can change all that if we want to, but we don't need to do that. So basically that's all we need to do. So now let's take this one and let's delete it. And let's see if this is gonna work, first and foremost. All right. There we go, it worked. Look at that. And now we have a trailer. Okay, something happened. Trailer is not a valid member of part. Oh, the rod constraint. Oh, you know why? Because what you have to do is you have to tell it to, then you have to tell it to wait. And then we have to disable the script. Script not enabled equals false. Otherwise, it's going to keep trying to create that rod constraint, and you're going to have like a million rod constraints. And that's what you saw there. What happened when there's an error in the code, right? That's why it's really important to make sure that there's no errors in your code when you publish your games. Otherwise, that's going to happen to somebody, and they'll downvote your game. So if we do that, hit.trailer. Trailer is not a valid member of part. Really? But it gave us the attachment, right? Oh, look at how many it made. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's attached, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. Attachment 1 is not there. Okay, so it just created it. trailer workspace dot trailer dot part. Okay, so then we probably need to rename this here. Rename this to hitch. All right, if hit.name. All right, now let's see what happens there. Now we're just trying to attach the trailer. There we go. And I didn't get an error. Oh, nice. And I didn't get an error on that. Cool. So then we can go. It's not going, obviously, because of the legs. So then what we can say in the script, before it even creates the rod, we can say hit.parent. Oh, let's see here. That's this here, right? This has got to be part of the trailer. So this will be legs. So we say hit.parent.legs. Hit.parent.legs.ll.can equals false. And then we'll do the same for the other one there. Like that. All right, and now it's just a matter of going through the code and seeing if we can figure it out. Now, I could eliminate these errors, and then just, so it would be easier to edit the trailer. There we go. And now those legs should be, yeah, look at that, can't glide false. Hey, it worked. It worked. Now this truck doesn't really have the, is this maskless still? It is. So it's just the tires. So something's up with the truck itself. Let's see, 0.0001, and then we need to go into a chassis, and it's got a lot of horsepower. All-wheel drive. That doesn't affect much. And then transmission here. Oh, the final drive. Final drive. Turn that down to 2. Oh, that didn't even work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's turn that to 5, maybe. Jeepers. So as you can see, you just have to play with it. You know, you just have to play with it. There we go. 5 is good. Just have to play with it and do what you can to make it work. There we go. Look at that. So now we have a truck and we have a trailer. So the next thing we can do is we just continue to edit the code. And then, like, for example, we can add the air hose and the brake hose. We could add the lights to the trailer. You know, we can do a lot of things, but I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to say dot visible. See, there's not many errors now. I wonder what that is. Oh, anti-roll. Okay. What that means is there's no anti-roll here on the rear side. I don't know, something like that. I'd have to take a look at it, but anyways, there we go. On the client side, we'll go back, and that should actually make those. Whoops. What happened there? Oh, transparency. Whoops. There, so you see that? There was an error in the code, and it didn't create the constraint. There we go, but it's saying, oh, transparency equals false. It should be 1. There. All right, this is pretty much gonna do it for this video. Yeah, so we'll recap. I'll do this and then we'll recap what we did here. There we go. Look, the legs came up. So there's kind of 2 things that we need to look out for when we're making these trailers. Okay. The first thing is we need to make sure that the trailer itself has no mass except for the wheels. And then the second thing we need to make sure is for the wheels that they aren't. This is actually a pretty decent truck. We have to make sure that the wheels aren't colliding with themselves. So what we ended up having to do is take the outside wheel, make it so it can't collide, and only the inner wheel is what is colliding. And then we also had to take the rim too, because sometimes these parts can overlap. And then if they collide, they're going to want to try and separate, even if they're, I know it doesn't make sense, even if they're welded together. And that just has to do with the code and the constraints and everything. That's just Roblox, right? So at the end of the day, you just kind of got to play with it and see what you can do. Hopefully this helped. With these wheels, all the other wheels are pretty much the same. And yeah, I mean, and that's it. And then you can configure this, you can configure that, right? And then you saw it was pretty stable. When everything works, the trailer should be stable. Now, if you're having issues where you're putting a lot of weight on the trailer and it's, you know, moving from side to side, like it shouldn't. I want to say that. Let's see. Like if I duplicate this, right, and we just turn this into there. And then I'll, okay, now it's like a van, right? Let's say it's a dry van now. It'll rock a little bit when it's on the hitch. But if you've done everything correctly, you actually shouldn't have any issues. As you can see there, see, I don't have any issues. It's nice and stable. This is what I like about the rod, right? So make sure you're setting the length to 0.2. Make sure that they can't collide. I mean, and there you go. We could almost make a game out of this, right? And then you see with the with that, I'm having way too much fun. That's what I love about Roblox. You get in, you start playing around. It's like, oh man, I'm a kid again. Okay. So that's that. I don't know what else to say. If you're having issues, again, with the hitch, what you could also try and do is add, like, if this, see, this is pretty large, right? The cylinder is pretty large. So it's got lots of surface area to support the trailer. And if you don't have that surface area to support the trailer, obviously you need to create it. And the easiest thing to do is just to take a couple of blocks like this. And then I just make them like, make them thin, maybe like that. See, they kind of have to be almost like that, right? Weld that to there. Duplicate that to there. There. And I mean, and if you don't want to see these things, just change the transparency. Boom, done deal. Now nobody's ever going to see them. But that's going to give us additional support for the trailer. Now, the thing to watch out when you're doing this is because they can collide, you have to make sure that there's still enough room for the trailer to kind of bounce around. If the trailer doesn't bounce around, what's going to happen is the game is going to have an error like it did, and we're going to fly off into nowhere. See, you see that? See how we're a little bit taller? Right? Before I could get away with that. There we go. Now I got away with that. So it's just, and now you see the trailer doesn't rock at all. You see how stable it is? Right? And then if you wanted to enhance that. So basically what we're doing is we are creating a hitch. And then the other thing you can do if you wanted to, you could just take a wedge like this. Right? You could move it here, whatever. This doesn't even have to be that complicated. Honestly, and you could just make that part of that, right? So then this, we need to weld that to there. That, we need to weld that to there. I won't make it invisible for now, just so you can see it. Like, obviously, there's a hitch there, but it's just not big enough, right? So, if you want something a little bigger, just like that. There we go. Oops. Oh, really? It's because they're just smaller, right? Yeah. It's catching on that lip. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. The legs go up, and away we go. We deliver the trailer wherever it needs to go. and that's it. And then if you play any of my games, you have to get out and do stuff in the trailer, and it takes a lot of time, and nobody likes that. They just want to hook up to the trailer, pull it for an hour, look around, and then make some money. So there you have it. That's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, liking and subscribing. You guys are awesome. I hope this helped you out. Like I say, we had to do a few things to make the wheels stable. We had to do a few things to make the trailer stable. And we had to do a few things to make the hitch stable. And at the end of the day, it all worked out. And it looks fantastic. Now what I would do with this block here, this block will delete the rod constraint that's in there. So the other thing we need to go over is the latency in actually connecting and creating the rod. So as you can see, I made it so that way the script disables itself. So somewhere in there, and I think we have to tell the script to wait after it makes the connection. Let me see here. Oh no, look, it only made one rod. Look at that. It only made a single rod. Cool. So that's what you want to do. And then like I say, in here you can do whatever you want. You could insert, we could make a click detector. It could be a proximity prompt, whatever. Insert object, script, right? And then what we want to do is we could take this, and we could take this, and we could make it all one model. Group it all together. Now that model we would have to drag into the truck, into the miscellaneous folder. And then this is the hitch right here. So we'll say hitch part. Okay, and then we can say, let's say wait, we'll just tell them wait just a second, and then we can say, yeah, I just want to get some music rolling here. We can say local button equals, right, script dot parent dot click detector. And we can say button dot mouse button one down. We can just say mouse click even. Connect function. What do we want it to do? Script dot parent dot hitch part. And then we can say find first child hitch. No, find first child rod constraint. Rod constraint. And actually, I'm going to change this to we'll say connection equals script apparent. Okay, so we say if connection, then connection remove. There we go, just like that. Perfect. And then what you want to do is you want to say after it's removed the rod constraint, we could say wait. I would tell it to wait like 10 seconds. And then I would say script dot parent dot hitch part dot script dot enabled equals true. And then that will change that there. And then we could say script dot parent dot brick color equals brick color dot new really red. And then we could just change this here, right, to this, and we can change this to like gold or something. All right, let's test all that out. Then that's sort of where you're going to go with the coding, right? And that's the next step. So I mean, this was like an hour just to make a trailer for our truck, you know. That's what I'm saying. Like, to get a good working model, you know, you're 10-12 hours, and then if you want to add sounds and stuff, it could even be longer than that. So, you know, and of course, people aren't ever going to appreciate the amount of effort that you put into it. That's just the way it is. Oh, come on. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Pop out. we go. So we should take this and put it here, like that. There we go. Then it will remove it, and then it'll, I guess, I don't know. Oh, and then we also want to make the legs. We want to make the trailer legs. So then that's the other thing we would have to say. In this case, I'm gonna go easy on it, and I'm gonna say game.workspace.trailer. Because it's here, right? Otherwise we have to say find first child player.name.trailer, right? And we have to get the player from when they click on the button. Blah 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 blah. Dot legs. Dot ll. Dot visible. Dot transparency equals 0, and then we just say the same thing for L. Like that. Oh, really? Let me just copy this. Let me say dot can collide, and then we say dot can collide, and then this has to be true. Just like that. All right. So now when we press the button, it should disconnect us, and the legs should come down, and it should make everything good. There we go. Okay, so then, yeah, there we go. Look at that. And then if we wait 10 seconds, now we should be able to connect to it again. And away we go. Look at that. Now we have ourselves a fancy little trailer. We can drop somewhere, and away we go. Perfect. So I hope that provided a little bit of insight. If you're struggling and you're not too sure what to do, yeah, these are just some quick troubleshooting methods. Now the entire trailer has no mass except for the wheels. Oh, and this part here I think might. Yeah, this part here weighs a little bit as well. And that kind of balances out the trailer, right? So yeah, so thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. That's going to do it for today's video. And I will see you all in the next one.